as you are in this month of January, you are going to come in about the third week, you're going to just feel that I don't want to do this anymore. Or, you know what, I'm just going to sleep in. I've been doing so great. I deserve to just take a moment and just sleep in this morning. And you know what? I'm not going to do my morning routine. I'm just going to take it easy. And the excuses start setting in, and it's just one day. It's just once. Okay. You're not going to be that person. This is separation season in the month of January. This is separation season for the year that's going to set you and your business and your life apart from everyone else. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ask Me How I Know. It is a Mindset Monday, and I'm grateful that you are here. If you have not already subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another awesome episode on Ask Me How I Know. And if you have not already left a review, I am trying to climb those reviews. My goal by the end of the year is going to be 250 reviews. And I can only do that in two ways: by people, listeners like you, going in and writing reviews. And please share. If these episodes are resonating with you, please share them with someone you know, because this podcast grows through organic growth. So during the month of December, if you've been listening to the Mindset episodes, you know that I have been creating some habits and going through goals, and we were preparing to launch into the new year. But now the new year is here and it's upon us, and it's exciting, and opportunity awaits. And you wrote out your goals and you have all these visions, dreams, expectations. Maybe you made resolutions, but now what? I'm not going to lie. I've actually faced this myself, and I have everything written out, and I know what I want to do. I have my tactics. My goals have, their what, and then they have their how I'm going to go about accomplishing that. But there's something else that has to happen: discipline. All right, guys, this is Ed Milet. He had a podcast episode about separation season in December. And the concept is, when everybody else is taking time off, this is an opportunity for people to jump ahead in a lot of regards. Well, guess what's happening at the beginning of the year? It's another separation season. So we can think about separation season in this regard. I have a friend, and she ran cross country, and she helps coach cross country. And one of the tactics that she says is like, okay, so I want you to run behind the top runner. Don't run in front of them. Don't try to get ahead of them. Just run kind of like behind them, and let them have that pressure, that mental pressure of you behind them. And that's wearing them down. And then at the right moment, you're going to separate, right? Now you've kind of worn them down, but you're still fresh and you're just behind them. And now you can separate. And when you do that, you can just like charge full speed ahead and really create this big gap, right, in what you're doing. Well, separation season for us in the month of January, it looks different than it did in December. In December, separation season looked like I'm working when other people are checked out. They've simply made the rationale that the holidays are here, and there isn't any business to be had, and I'm just going to take it easy and enjoy the holidays and my family. And right, we can resonate with that, and I hope everyone did enjoy their families, because separation season doesn't say don't enjoy your families. It just says, hey, everyone else is really mentally checked out, and you're not going to be checked out, and you're going to be fully engaged, and you're going to jump ahead in the pack. In the month of January, this is your separation season. A lot of people had a lot of very good intentions. They set out their goals. They wrote them out. They wrote out their tactics on how they're going to do that. And now they're implementing it. Most people, get this, the statistics are only 8% of people stick to their New Year's resolutions. And I'm going to put resolutions as a slashy, like resolutions slash goals, because I think that a lot of times people generally put those two together, and they are actually different, but I am going to lump them together. So as you are in this month of January, you are going to come in about the third week, you're going to just feel that I don't want to do this anymore. Or, you know what? I'm just going to sleep in. I've been doing so great. I'm just going to I deserve to just take a moment and just sleep in this morning. And you know what? I'm not going to do my morning routine. I'm just going to take it easy. And the excuses start setting in, and it's just one day. It's just once. Okay. You're not going to be that person. This is separation season in the month of January. This is separation season for the year that's going to set you and your business and your life apart from everyone else. So you are going to not allow yourself to make those excuses, and you're going to push ahead. Here's what's more, and here's the most important thing. I just got done recording a podcast interview with Barry Griffiths, and he's just fantastic. It's very much more of a pointed mindset episode. And as we were talking at the end of that episode, kind of off camera, ended up telling him how I said, you know what, the schedule, everyone has these goals and they have their year maybe even mapped out. I hope you do. They know what they need to accomplish, the little steps. But if they don't take those steps, if they don't take those actions, they will never get there. Most of you know, if you've been listening to Ask Me How I Know, that I really enjoy baking. And I've learned a lot through baking. And a lot of what I learned about through baking applies to everyday life. Okay. And so I want to pull this concept in. Which kind of recipe are you? And which kind of final product are you going to produce? Okay. As I mentioned, this is separation season. And I'm going to go into the baking world, but just stick with me because I think that this is really going to make sense to most of you. I don't know many people that don't enjoy a really good cookie. Now, I'm not a huge chocolate chip cookie fan. I know, is that un-American? But I do love a really good cookie, and I'll eat the chocolate chip cookie. If it's warm out of the oven, that's when I'll enjoy it. And I have this recipe, and it's for these thick and chewy chocolate chip cookies. I hope to remember to drop the recipe in the show notes because it's a great recipe and you'll have great success. But the point is that this recipe requires a recipe. Okay, so you created a recipe for your year when you created and crafted your goals. So you have a recipe right now to follow for your year. The next thing a recipe requires is it requires all the right ingredients. So I've got flour, butter, sugar, eggs, vanilla, chocolate chips, some baking soda, right? I've got all the ingredients and they're out on the counter and they're all top grade, fantastic ingredients. And they're sitting right beside the mixing bowl. Do I have chocolate chip cookies yet? No, I don't. Okay, guess what? You have all the right ingredients inside of you right now to realize the dreams that you have. That doesn't mean that you're going to be doing everything. It might mean that you need to learn a skill, that you need to reach out to somebody. But you have the capability of putting those ingredients together. Okay, so if you either have the ability and you have those ingredients within you, or you have the ability and the knowledge to go, this is where I'm going to source this out, and this is how I'm going to accomplish that. One example is that my bandwidth right now on developing some tech skills for my website, it is like tremendously diminished. I don't have the mental bandwidth and the patience at this time. And so guess what? I found somebody who can fill that gap for me. And it makes a lot of sense. Okay. So reaching out. So finding the ingredients. If they aren't within you, you know how to find them. So now we have all the ingredients on the counter and I have my recipe. What happens if I throw in the flour and if I throw in my flour, my baking soda, my salt, I throw that in, I mix it up, and then I throw in the vanilla and maybe I throw in some eggs, maybe I throw in, and I'm not measuring things carefully. I'm just haphazardly throwing things into my mixing bowl. I am going to have horrible cookies. Okay. So I don't even know how that's going to turn out aside from horrible because if you don't mix them properly, if you don't mix your ingredients together well and mix them properly, they don't bond correctly together. So I'm a little bit of slightly a little food sciencing snob on what happens with these ingredients. I actually really wanted to make great chocolate chip cookies for my husband, so I learned a lot about this, okay? But here's the thing, you could have all the really great right ingredients, okay? And I have already stated, you do have them. But did you realize your goals last year? No, you didn't. Because you weren't using all of the ingredients in the best way possible. Maybe you even made goals, but you didn't follow the goals. You were haphazard about it. And so at the end of the year, it was like a mangled cookie. It was weird. Or like if you're a knitter, it's like some weird hat or sweater that nobody's going to want to wear at all. So, you want to take all of the right ingredients and you want to follow the recipe that you have created. Now, if I'm making chocolate chip cookies and I'm making them in an exceptional way, then I'm going to just beat the heck out of my butter and my brown sugar for a while. I just want them to mix and bond. And then I'm going to throw in some granulated white sugar. And then I'm going to carefully throw in one whole egg, let it mix, scraping the sides down. I'm going to throw in an egg yolk, not a whole egg yolk. I'm going to mix those. And then, I'm being very methodical and very careful about how, when, why I'm adding all of the ingredients into my mixing bowl for that chocolate chip cookie, because I want to be extraordinary. So I have that, I've mixed it well. The equivalent of that is you saying, trusting. I created these goals and I have the tactics and I know when I need to accomplish these things. I've got my dates, I've got my deadlines, and I know what I am doing and I'm going to follow it. Okay, that's how you're going to separate this year. But there is something else, another very critical part of this process. When I am making these cookies, they're very different than traditional chocolate chip cookie recipes. When I pull the mixing bowl away, it has to rest. Now, that's just a little strategy I learned to effectively make the cookies that are thick and chewy. And I have to let that dough sit and rest because I use melted butter in it. Okay. And as it sits and cools, it allows me to shape it in a much better way to come up with that thick and chewy chocolate chip cookie. How does this relate to you? You must be patient. A lot of you are going to want to see these huge results right away. By the end of January, I should see blah, blah, blah. But guess what? You've been planting those seeds. And for some of you, this is the first year that you're planting those seeds and watering them and being diligent and carefully following the recipe that you've created for your year. You're not going to necessarily see the results of your efforts instantly. You must be patient. If I'm patient with that cookie dough, by the way, I usually clean up, and that's how I keep myself occupied. And so maybe in real life, with following the recipe for your goals, is that you're going to say, okay, I understand. I've passed this project on to this web developer. And now, while that's resting in that person's care and charge, I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure I am connecting with all of my investors, right? I want to be doing something, but I want it to be something productive. Okay. Otherwise you can totally ruin everything. Okay. So keep yourself productive and occupied with really good things. Now I have that dough. It's ready. I've shaped my cookies because this is a weird cookie recipe. Remember, it's not hard or anything, but it makes these beautiful, thick and chewy chocolate chip cookies. And you pull out, a spoonful of that dough and you break it in half and then you set it on the cookie tray. And that allows it to cook evenly, FYI. And now you're putting it in the oven. But if I did not preheat my oven, my cookies are going into a cold oven and they're going to bake unevenly because they're not going into something warm and welcoming. So how does that translate to your recipe for your goals? Are you following that recipe in a disciplined way so that you have that oven already turned on? Sure, we're in Q1, but Q3 and Q4 are going to come upon us very quickly. So what are you doing? How is your recipe warming the way for all of your efforts today. You must be doing that. So we've put the cookies into a preheated oven. And now, do you just leave them and just trust fate and trust your instinct that they're going to be baked perfectly the next time you come over, whenever that is? No, you set a timer. You're intentional about setting timers so that you know they're not going to be burnt. I'm going to at least check on them to make sure if they need another moment, they get it. When you are looking at the recipe for your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, you need to monitor it and you need to set timers on things. Well, I know that on a daily level, I know that I'm going to give myself this much time to work on podcasts. I'm going to give myself this much time to make sure that I am, nurturing my investors. I'm going to take this much time to make sure I'm connecting properly with my teammates, right? So we're very intentional and deliberate about the use of our time. And then we know, oh, I'm going to go back and revisit this because the timer went off. And I need to check on things and make sure that it's okay. I need to check and make sure I didn't burn anything. I need to check and make sure that everything is turning out as I want. And when that timer goes off and you pull those cookies out of the oven, because you've been deliberate with every step of the way, you are able to separate from the pack. You're able to come out with a final product that you are proud of. And you gain self-confidence because you see, I had the ingredients the entire time. I just didn't know how to use them. Oh, I had the ingredients and I was trying to use them, but I wasn't following the recipe carefully. Oh, had the ingredients and I followed the recipe and I was meticulous, but I didn't have the oven warm. This year, you can gain significant traction into developing the life of your dreams. But it will require you to be very careful and deliberate about following the recipe. And this month, during the month of January, if you want to separate from the pack, if you want to differentiate yourself from others, then you're not going to make excuses. You are going to stick to the plan that you made. You are going to follow through. I know that you can do this. And I would love for you guys to reach out to me. I'd love to hear your successes because we need to cheer each other on. So drop me a note over on LinkedIn and let me know, hey, Julie, totally successful morning. Maybe we should use that hashtag successful morning or successful day when you rose to that challenge, when you didn't want to do it, when you wanted to make an excuse, but you decided, I'm separating. I'm not going to be the old version of myself. I'm going to use these amazing abilities and ingredients that I've been gifted with for powerful good. All right. It really is that simple. But, it's those simple things that are difficult to stick to on the day in, day out. You've got this. You can do this and you can achieve the life of your dreams. If this resonated with you and you want that chocolate chip cookie recipe, just look down below. If it's not there, if for some reason it got left out, just drop me a message over on LinkedIn. And if this episode resonated with you, please help Ask Me How I Know grow organically by sharing this episode with somebody else. On a final note, I am going to have some offerings available during this coming year. Some traction is taking place and I'm super excited, but I don't want you to miss out. If you're not already on my investor list, drop me a message. Say, Julie, here's my email. Add me to the investor list. Until next time, go find your freedom.